Okay, let us now look at climate change before briefly exploring what biodiversity is and moving on to developing a shared understanding of what we mean when we refer to global citizenship. Climate change, I'm sure everybody has heard of climate change and is aware of the issues that it is bringing and the impact it is having on our environment. Climate change refers to a statistically significant variation in either the mean state of the climate or in its variability, persisting for an extended period, typically a decade or longer. Climate change may be due to natural processes or external forcing, or to persistent anthropogenic changes in the composition of the atmosphere or in land use. In the latest assessment report from the IPCC, which is the International Panel on Climate Change, changes in the climate recorded over the last 100 years are considered unprecedented, and they are also considered to be as a result of human activities, particularly the burning of fossil fuels, which results in the increased atmospheric concentrations of greenhouse gases, such as carbon dioxide. Atmospheric greenhouse gases, or GHGs as they're sometimes called, are 30% higher now than at any time during the last 800,000 years. Global mean temperatures have risen by 0.74 degrees in the last 100 years, and this is having a huge impact on the environment. I think anyone who has been looking at any news over the last number of months or years will have seen numerous examples of this being reported. There are various terms which refer to climate change. Take a minute to explore the three main terms: climate change mitigation, climate change adaptation, and climate resilience. Next up is biodiversity. The term biodiversity is a portmanteau of biological and diversity, and it refers to the variety of life on Earth at all levels, from genes to ecosystems, and can encompass the evolutionary, ecological, and cultural processes that sustain life. Biodiversity includes not only species we consider rare or threatened or endangered, but also every living organism that we know about: ourselves, humans, microbes, animals, vertebrates. Global citizenship. What do we mean when we refer to a global citizen? In short, global citizens are globally minded, responsible individuals taking action towards a more equitable and sustainable future. So, global citizens consider the bigger picture. They consider the global impact of their actions, even though they are obviously operating at a local level. They look at the bigger impact, not just from an economic perspective, but also from a social justice aspect and obviously from an environmental impact aspect as well. We're now going to have a look at a number of economic terms. So clearly, sustainability and the economy are very linked. The economic model that we have had for the last, certainly since the Industrial Revolution and probably since the Agrarian Revolution 10,000 years ago, has been what has been called the linear model, and that is take, make, and break. And you can see from the illustration there that it starts with extracting raw materials, so we're taking it from the ground. We start to make things then by producing, distributing, and retailing. We then use it, and then once it's finished, we break it up, it becomes waste. That is the linear model, it's the current model of economics that we have. As we all know, there is only one planet and we have a limited amount of resources. So if we do not want to run out of these resources, we are going to have to start making better use of the resources that we do have. And in order to do that, one approach that has been looked at and is considered central to sustainability is the notion of a circular economy, which is where you take a product and keep it circulating by avoiding it becoming waste. So in this particular example, you can see there are numerous ways it can be done. You can renew, reuse, repair, upgrade, refurbish. So you can see Once the product is being used, if it's serviced, it can be kept in service. It can be refurbished and go back into the retail stream. It can be recycled, parts can be harvested, it can be recycled for production. A very good resource for circularity and the circular economy is the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, so you can look that up and become more familiar with circular economy and all its elements. There are three principles of the circular economy: design out waste and pollution, keep the materials and products in use as long as possible, and regenerate natural systems. So the idea is that raw materials go in, and in an ideal world, they go round in a circular motion. So you can see that the primary principle is designing out waste. If you have no waste, you are not going to run out of material. And the idea is to regenerate natural systems and to also mimic natural systems, because in the natural world, products waste is a starting material for something else. When a plant grows and dies, it becomes compost to support life of the next plant. We need to adopt that approach in our own production methods. Another interesting concept is that of donut economics. It's a visual framework for viewing or combining planetary boundaries with the social boundaries. If you look at the model there, you will see that the external limit is the environmental ceiling, i.e., how much can our environment sustain, how much can we produce. Below that is something that is sustainable. Once we're within our limits, we're sustainable. And then obviously there's a stage below which poverty exists, where there is not enough materials being produced and distributed. This is a very useful concept when trying to consider equity and social justice in the context of economics. There are 11 dimensions of social foundation in relation to the donut economic model, and you can see these are on the inner circle. So food, health, education, income and work, peace and justice, political voice, social equity, gender equality, housing, networks, energy and water. And not enough of any of those will cause social issues, of course. There are then, on the outside, there are 9 dimensions or limits, which will also cause problems if we go beyond the sustainable capacity of our environment to carry our needs. So clearly, climate change would be an issue, acidifying the ocean, chemical pollution, nitrogen and phosphorus loading, freshwater withdrawals, using too much water, land conversion, resulting in biodiversity loss, air pollution, and ozone layer depletion. These are all parameters and dimensions that are relevant when considering donut economics. Corporate social responsibility, or CSR. CSR can be defined as the continuing commitment by business to behave ethically and contribute to economic development while improving the quality of life at the workplace and workers' families, as well as the local community and the society at large. Clearly, corporate social responsibility is a very significant issue, especially in the current climate where we have corporations who are so wealthy and have so much access to capital and influence in relation to laws and the way that resources are used